Just going to have a quick look around the camper trailer and how we got things set up. As you can see, not a bad view out there. You can see the island. We're only a few feet from the water here. Keep ourselves warm, we've got 2 double sleeping bags and 2 quilts, and that's working out pretty well. Big 5 mattress there, which is thick enough. And we've got charging stations all over the place. Although it doesn't seem particularly neat and tidy, it all does the job. Got phones and camera batteries charging up here. And on the other side we've got the inverter. It's a floating inverter, we don't fix it to any particular point in the camper trailer because we use that in the coaster as well. So we've got the computer charging up here. We've got several other chargers that are used for various functions. Camera batteries, phantom, that sort of thing. A couple of pockets each side here where we put keys and glasses and things like that at night, which is pretty useful. The big Aldi torch up there, which is a little spotlight that works pretty well. Hanging up in the top of the tent, the old Aldi lantern, which is not that great. The LEDs in it are gradually dying, but it's been doing the job and it's quite light, and the battery seems to last quite a while. Down the end of the tent, not looking particularly tidy, but camera gear, clothes, all that sort of junk. We've got a couple of single sleeping bags there. Now what we use those for when we're sitting up either watching a movie or something like that on the computer at night, if it gets a bit chilly, we just wrap ourselves up in those and keeps us nice and warm while we're just sitting watching something. One of the things we don't really like about this camper trailer very much is that step. It's a little high. You can see we've had to put another little step in front of it just to make it not such a big step up when you're getting into or out of the bed. Little cupboard there, which has been very useful. We use it all the time when we go camping. It's an Austrail, well made, dead easy to set up, and just very useful that the top of that happens to be level where the bed is, so we can put things up there when we want to at night. Out in the annex we have the camp kitchen over here, so our pots and pans covered. We get all those out when we're camping, no need to keep them in the cupboard. Found a little useful over the door paper towel roll holder, if I can get that out. Little headlight there for emergencies at night. And underneath we've got a series of boxes just holding bits and pieces and food. We've got an extra 20 litre container there, fresh water in it. Tanks are doing fairly well at the moment. Mostly food along the bottom there. Cooking utensils and that hanging up and in a little holder. Tonight's dinner, defrosting. We try to bring away a lot of prepared meals when we come, so it makes life a lot easier. Just heat and eat. We've got some steaks and things like that that we will do as well, but a little cooker here, 2-burner cooker, good flame, also has a grill on the bottom. One of the knobs on the front missing unfortunately, but we just swap them over. Sink. Now if we put the hot water on and it decides to work, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, seems to be a bit temperamental, we can also have hot water. Usually we just boil the kettle, it's a bit easier and doesn't waste as much gas. Underneath, because the trailer's empty, we have a nice little storage space there for some more food. Just keeps everything out of the way, and when you want it to look nice and neat, you just tap the Velcro on there and that hides everything away, which is good. We have our Aldi strip lights up as we usually do. What I should have done, I guess, is put 2 white ones inside and 2 orange ones outside. I'll rectify that shortly. We don't really need the orange ones on the inside. That's just wired into the camper system. It's fairly simple. We've got our water tanks down here. Got our water tanks, pump, and we can check the water tank levels. Going alright at the moment. Can also check the battery level here. There was an internal light, but I've disconnected that because it wasn't working. And if we really need one, they put up one of the Aldi lights inside, but we just use the hanging lantern. Simple enough. The rest of the annex is mostly just table and sitting room. A couple of chairs and a stool on the corner, and we've got this nice long table that folds up into quite a small package. Again, Aldi gear. I know we seem like a walking advertisement for Aldi camping gear. We have bought a lot of stuff from them. That's really about it for the inside. Very straightforward camper trailer, and as I'm getting more and more used to it, it's not quite such a hassle to set it up as it was when we first started. Can never have enough charging stations because everything needs charging up these days. So we've put the little Suwaoki solar panel into use here. That has another 2 connections on it, so we've got 2 things charging up there this morning. And believe it or not, despite all the things we've got charging, we still don't have enough connections to charge everything at once. But thankfully we don't need to do everything every day, so we just swap things around. Now let's have a look around the outside. We leave the annex roof on and just fold that up when we pack up, so it's pretty easy to use. Okay, mounted on this side of the camper there, 2 gas bottles. One of them I didn't realise was almost empty when we came away. I should have checked it a bit better, but at least the one on the front's full. That'll keep us going for the couple of weeks we're away. 20 litre water container there, that's our emergency water. We don't touch that until we really need it. 2 60 litre tanks underneath that are going pretty well at the moment. Now the front of the vehicle, we've just got a few things piled on the drawbar there just to keep them out of the way and up off the ground. We don't want any creepy crawlies or snakes getting into them. Got the lock-up bin on the front. That's good for security if we want to put anything valuable in there if we go away for a while. Little boat battery charging up here at the moment. That should be pretty well charged by now. Just about to take that off. Put it in the car so we're ready to go fishing. The 2 20-watt panels on the front are all but useless these days. They're really only useful if you're going to only use lights in the camper trailer. We need far more power than that. But they do contribute to the system, I guess. So it gives us 370 watts of power all up. That's a pretty reasonable amount of solar, I guess, for the fact that we're only running 1 fridge. On the bottom of the boat carrier there at the moment, there's just a rod carrier I put on. I guess I could have put a thicker one than that, but we just about managed to fit the rods into that. On the side, the odd looking beast there is a can crusher, which I will be putting into use. Reduces the amount of space that your waste takes up. One of the things you need to do when you're out camping is compact your rubbish so it doesn't take up so much room. That's a great little can crusher. Squishes all your tins down nice and flat and stops them taking up so much room. You can do it by hand, but just as easy to whack them in the can crusher. Much easier to handle. And that's another item we found sitting in an op shop and loved and unwanted, and I knew exactly where I was going to put that. The toilet we've got is just a standard pop-up tent. We were so impressed with this one we actually did a review on it, which you can find on our channel. Looking through there you can see we have a pretty good view from the dunny. or at least from the shower. You won't see that when you're sitting down, of course. The main item in here is the porta potty. They have a level meter on them. And they've improved the sort of pump. The old one used to be a squishy thing that used to split. This is actually a proper pump they've got on them now. And they've even got a little clip. They've got a little clip on the front so the top doesn't flip up and down when you don't want it to. You just have to unclip that when you're ready to use it. Here we have a bit of a camping hack. Very simple idea and easy to use. The shower tent we've got has these support bars along the sides. It's a great place to hang your dunny roll, but of course when you're showering and even when the dew comes in the mornings, everything in here gets wet. So the way we've gotten around that is to just use one of these Ziploc bags, put the dunny roll inside it, push the roll through the bag, leave the open end at the bottom, and it pulls out quite nicely. It does a good job. So camping hack 101, just a little idea to add to make your camping trip a little bit easier. You can see in the top of the tent there, the crossbars, they steady the roof up. And down below, there are 3 support bars on the side. They're really handy if you want to hang up your towel or your clothes, or both. And under the flap here, there's 3 pockets. Very useful for keeping your dunny roll, some washing water, soap, shampoo, all that sort of gear. Coming in the corner at the top there is the shower hose that comes in from the camper trailer. That was built into it, which is why we've got the tent in this position. We need to have it near where the hot water system is placed in the camper trailer. These are the shower controls for the camper trailer. Just a hot and a cold tap. Now because we're not using hot water, it doesn't really matter, we just turn the cold tap on. Leave it on because the pipe itself is sealed. And until you actually press the lever on the end, it doesn't release the water, which is good. Front storage bin, pretty spacious. And the main secure area, if you ever want to leave gear and go away for a while. On the other side there you can see the hot water system built in. Runs on gas. Tends to be a little bit temperamental, but most of the time when I've tried it, it's worked. 1 or 2 times it's decided not to. Not much else in here at the moment because all the gear is actually out being used at camp. Okay, the setup we've got has in total 4 solar panels. There's the 2 originals that came with the trailer, which were just little tiny 20-watt panels. And we've attached a 200-watt, which you can see just behind there. And in front we have the AllSpark 130-watt, which is a portable. That was the first panel we got for this setup, but with the number of things we're running, the amount of recharging we do, we found it wasn't quite enough. So now in total we have 370 watts, and that seems to do a reasonably good job. Now as you can see behind the trailer there, the weather's coming in at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see how well the solar system stacks up once the sun goes away. The only other charging source we've got with us at the moment is the car, so it'll be a bit of a test of everything. Looking at this side of the camper trailer, you can see it has a little external awning here over the bed window. That's pretty handy if you want to keep out the rain, but you still want to have your windows open. Good idea. They seem to have thought of a lot of different things with this camper. We're set up now for some wet weather to come through. That's what we're expecting. We hope it's not going to be too wet, but you never know. There are 3 positions on this camper trailer where we can put an awning like this, a little window awning. like the one on the other side where the bed is. That allows you to have your windows open when it's raining, or at least if it's not raining too hard, so you can have a bit of airflow in the tent, which is really useful. I've mentioned this before in another video, but the camper trailer was made by an Australian company in Melbourne, unfortunately put out of business by all the cheap imports. Really good. What a shame they're not in business anymore. It's a very good little camper trailer, excellent quality canvas, all the welds beautifully done, off-road suspension, independent suspension on it. We had new shocks put on before this trip just to make sure we were okay. New tyres, and so far so good. She's been a very good little camper trailer, heaps of room inside. Just a shame all the cheap imports from China are putting good Aussie businesses out of work. These, when they first came out with all the mods on them, were around about 18,000. That increased rapidly to just before they went out of business. This thing would have cost around about 28,000 new, so you can see the effects that the imports had on these, and the local manufacturers just couldn't keep up. There would be quite a few of these floating around Australia still, and I think they will be for many years to come, because they're very good quality, made with Australian steel, not the cheap imported junk. So at least we're confident we can pretty well take it anywhere we like.